This is A's Cast Live, your comprehensive look at the Athletics.
Leaping at the wall, it's gone! A towering drive into center field by Rooker.
And 29 other MLB clubs.
A judging blast. All rise. Here comes the judge.
Swung on, hit high, hit deep to right, away back into the second deck.
Bobby Witt Jr. becomes the first shortstop in Major League history to have two 30-30 seasons.
Shohei Ohtani starts the 50-50 club.
Join us as we take you inside the baseball universe, from humidors to walk-off dingers to Hall of Fame talk. We have you covered. Spend your afternoon with us, only on A's Cast Live. Here's Chris Townsend.
Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome.
Better?
No, I've completely lost
Your ability to hear?
my ability to hear.
Well, good thing you only have to hear me for right now.
I did something. I don't know what I did. Oh, there we go. There we go. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to A's Cast Live. We've got a big show. Why do we have a big show? Well, it's simple. We've got the power brokers on today. Today is kind of like, the principal, the vice principal, everybody mind your P's and Q's because the big wigs are here. Or you could say from a business standpoint, the president and the vice president are here. Today, it's about the big boys. It's David Forst, the general manager of the Athletics, and the manager show, Mark Kotsay. As we are going to talk about the number one theme for the day is goals. I love goals. You need to have goals. You need to have goals in your life. Whether it's goals about family, personal stuff, goals in business, you want to be successful, you got to strive. You've got to say, this is what I want. This is what I want to be. This is where I want to get to. And even when you've had a bad year at 64 and 77, you still need to have goals, because you can always, what does Scott Emerson say in the book that he always talks about, where you're talking about you're either winning or you're learning?
Yeah.
So even in times when you're not, there's Dan. Hello, Dan. How are you? We're getting ready for A's Cast on NBC coming up here. But you can still learn in these last 21 games. There's some huge steps coming up here in these last 21 games. We found out from Mark Kotsay today that when the Athletics at the end of the year, last road trip, are in Pittsburgh, they're on track to see Paul Skeens. You've got six games against the Red Sox, 3 at Fenway Park. Every game for the Red Sox is dramatic and huge for them right now when you look at the postseason. This is going to be great for our guys to learn. So with both Mark Kotsay and David Forst, I talked goals today. We talked goals. And there's 2 goals that we really look at. Number 1, and it starts today, not finishing in last place. Do not finish in last place. Take care of business this weekend and you won't be in last place. Tough to say you got to sweep somebody, but this is your last chance at seeing the Angels. Angels finished in last place last year. You can put the Angels in last place once again and you won't be in last place. That is a good goal and an attainable goal. You also have to have attainable goals. Like, I'd like to be 6'4" and play quarterback back in the day in the Pac-10, but that just was a goal that was never going to happen.
I was going to say play on the PGA Tour. That could happen. We might be
on the senior tour
now. Senior tour, but that could still happen.
All right, so the other goal that we're going to talk about with these guys today, David Forst and Mark Kotsay, it's going to be finishing 500 on the road. The A's have one of the best road records in all of baseball. They're 35 and 37, 4th best record in the American League on the road. Can you finish 500 on the road? We talk about every year, you do really well at home, play 500 on the road, and get a chance you're in the playoffs.
Yeah. Now we're just
Cody Elias, by the way, joining us today.
Hello, Towny.
How are you?
I'm great. I mean, the road thing is something we've been kind of tracking because remember the team started hot on the road. And it was interesting because they were having troubles playing at the ballpark in West Sacramento. Then the team was doing really well on the road. Then when the 20 of 21 happened, that kind of killed the road win-loss record. But it's still respectable, 35-37. So
the band was playing on the Titanic. Everything's fine. Everything. What? Yeah. Iceberg, and it's all down from there. Now, this is interesting. Since losing 20 of 21, the Athletics are 41-37. So that 20 and 21. But the road thing has been something that we've been looking at.
Yeah, plus they're 23-20 since the All-Star break. It's one of the better records in the league. That's encouraging, and you're seeing a lot of growth from. It's great to see the growth of Nick Kurtz and Jacob Wilson, the young players. But I like what we're seeing from guys like Luis Morales. What we were seeing from Jack Perkins when he was healthy, like the young pitchers that we've been taught, that everyone's been telling us about. They're coming. That's what I want to see. We're going to see Morales pitch in West Sacramento next week because he's not slated to pitch this weekend, as it's going to be Mason Barnett, who I'm excited to see make his second start tonight, and then JT Ginn and Luis Severino. But Barnett's another guy that's interesting. He's another guy that, you're looking at to maybe be a guy that can help you out in the rotation for years to come. We know that there's not 1 through 5 anymore, so we don't have to worry about, who's our 5th starter? Because
it's 1 through 13.
Yeah, that's being polite. I haven't looked at any
starters.
How
ridiculous! Just like when you think back of how our spring training shows used to be. Hey, I really like their 1 through 5. When you look 1 through 5, what the hell are you talking about? You're going to be begging for 1 through 10, let alone 1 through 13,
including openers. We've used 14.
Yeah,
different starters this year.
Yeah, I mean it's just a reality. So that's why Mason Barnett, who came over in the Lucas Ursig trade, that's super interesting. Like, this guy could play a role. Anybody you see right now could be playing a major role in 2026. Even talking about this Junior Perez guy who's doing really well in AAA at 23 years old. We'll ask David Forst about him. He came over in the Jorge Mateo trade in 2020. I mean, that was during COVID.
It was 5 years ago.
It was before COVID really hit and shut us down. But who really remembers that?
I mean, 5 years. I don't remember what I was doing 5 years ago.
If Martin Gallegos would have not written the great Martin Gallegos from MLB.com, if he had not written an article about Junior Perez and how hot he is, and just he's a dynamic talent, patience, and now he's blossoming at 23 years old. He's got a tough decision coming up here with him. But if he would, if someone would have just said, "Hey, what do you think of Junior Perez and his rise?" There's no chance you would have remembered he was a part of the Jorge Mateo deal with the Padres.
No, I mean, as someone like
right
me,
before COVID hit.
As someone like me that is very nerdy, remembers a lot of players that come over in trades, I didn't remember that one.
No, because COVID hit and you don't remember anything, right?
Not
COVID
really.
hit and it was like, all of a sudden we had a 60-game schedule, like Junior Perez for Jorge Mateo and what else. I don't even remember what the full was. That the deal? I don't even remember what the full deal was.
That's actually a good question. Let's look it up real quick.
Right? So so it's like it's guys right now, these last games are super, super important.
Oh, not only that, apparently he was the player to be named later that we got in the Jorge Mateo trade.
Didn't have that on my bingo card. Who else was in that deal?
I think it was just
Cash and a player to be named later.
It looked like it was something like it was a player to be named later and Cash. For
yeah,
Mateo.
so it's amazing what patience you have to have as a front office. But that's kind of like the exciting thing, right? Why do we need to get juiced up, fired up, ready to rock? Football started last night. Your Dallas Cowboys off to another great start. But, football started last night. Niners are going to be this weekend. We have so many of the people that listen and watch the show are Niner fans.
A lot of panic.
And then you got Raiders are starting up too. Can't wait for that. But, bottom line, football's starting. And we have always said on this show, you need to be relevant when football season hits. Unfortunately, the Athletics really not so much, but 21 games left. What to play for? What are we looking at here other than just guys and individual stats? You got to build something that's more than just individual stats. And this is where goals I didn't know. I was thinking about this yesterday as we had the day off yesterday, found out that I'm glad some players got out yesterday. I mean, what a great day to have an off day. I mean, you're staying at one of the hotel they're staying in Orange County. I mean, we don't tell you what hotel, but it is spectacular. So they're at the beach. So if you went to the beach, some guys we found out went to Disneyland. You're going to find out later on with Mark. Good for them. Because you got to remember, we had the least amount of days off through the first half.
Mm-hmm.
That's why whenever I write my book, I've got games played, I got wins, losses, I got where you are in the standings, all this kind of stuff. We had always, no matter who we played more games than the other team. It was wild because we didn't have a whole lot of days off. Just the way this. Now we're starting to equal up with everybody because we're getting more days off. So good for the player. If they went to Disneyland, the happiest place on earth, go for it, right? But this is a 21-game sprint with some teams that they're playing for something. You look at this schedule right now with the fact that you're choking Mariners right now.
Oh boy, they're not. They don't look good.
The Royals are right there.
Yeah. No, it's going to be harder now. The Royals just lost Lugo for an IL stint,
but here you go. I mean, you got the Rangers, so Seattle's lost 3 in a row. That means the Rangers are just a game and a half back for the final wild card, and you got Kansas City just 2 games back. You got that final weekend at the ballpark in West Sacramento means something because you got 3 against the Astros. Who knows how that's going to work out because their lead right now is just 3.5 games over the Mariners. So that could be for the division. So that's the first 3 games of the final homestand. Then the last 3 games of the Kansas City Royals, they may be playing for a playoff berth. So you've got that. You've got 6 games against Boston. I mean, Boston's in the heat of it because Boston right now, they're only 3.5 games back in the East, so winning the division is not out, and they hold the second wild card. Yankees are first, Red Sox second, Mariners 3. A lot to play. What I'm trying to get at, we got a lot to play for in 21 games, and the A's are part of that, and you can learn from it. All right, who are we going with first?
David Forst.
Ooh. David Forst, you're going to love this, the David Forst Show. We start off talking about what I think if you are a fan, hardcore, one guy is what it's all about right now. If you take right now for the future, most important, Luis Morales, what he has shown. Gage Jump is supposed to be something hell on wheels. You just start looking at the future. Okay, Kurtz, Wilson. Okay, Denzel Clark hopefully comes back soon. Lawrence Butler, Muncy, Geloff, Blade, Tyler. So, by the way, you want a note on Tyler Soderstrom real quick? Since the start of August, only Bo Bichette, not Dante, Bo Bichette and Tyler, only Bo Bichette has a better batting average in the American League than Tyler Soderstrom since August. Bo Bichette's on fire again, hitting 369. Tyler Soderstrom's hitting 333. So you got all these guys, but Leo DeVries is the one everybody's talking about and still talking about in baseball. I mean, he is, and David Forst got to go to Midland, see him. Well, here you go. Here's the David Forst Show. Now for the David Forst Show right here on A's Cast Live and A's Cast. David, it's great to have you on once again. And we got the scouting report that you were in Midland. You got to see Leo DeVries. You even got to throw him a little BP.
I did. I got to see Leo in person finally for the first time. I talked to him when we made the deal, but got there to see a lot of the guys. It's fun to go out to Midland and see the players in person, get to catch up with the staff, and I usually do get to throw to a group of BP there, and Leo was in my group on Wednesday, so it was nice to meet him finally.
So when you first get to talk to him, and obviously he's a very confident kid, he's very mature at 18 years old for what he's been through to get here and play professionally at such a young age. What first impressions, what was it like?
We had a good conversation. Obviously, using a translator, Juan Delonay, who's the hitting coach there in Midland, has been with us for a long time, and Delo and I are close, so we're able to use Juan to translate and just talk to Leo about his time in the organization so far. He's had a little left shoulder issue. It gave us an opportunity to talk about things he needs to do to keep his body healthy and stay on the field, but then also just let him know our expectations for him for the rest of this year and the off season. I know he's thinking about playing winter ball in the Dominican, and just how we see his path going forward. So we had a good conversation.
There's no question. This kid's a go-getter.
Yeah, no, he's as talented as he is a hard worker. And I mentioned to him that how much we were impressed by that first day we traded for him. He immediately got in his car, drove to Lansing because he wanted to be in the lineup that night. I told him that we all took notice of that. And also just the fact that every coach who's been with him so far in our system has talked about how he asks questions, he wants to learn, all the things you'd really hope for from a young player.
You know, when you talk about greatness, you know, because we're kind of getting into this, heading towards the playoffs. Some teams are leaking oil, and everybody's like, "Oh, they'll just turn it on." But when you truly talk about the all-time greats, right? And the guy that came to my mind was like Michael Jordan. Like Michael Jordan's pilot light never went out. That pilot light was always on. He never. So it's like the great ones, and we're kind of seeing this from Leo, is that he's game on all the time.
Yeah, I think you need to love to compete. And you need to want to win all the time. I think we see it from Nick Kurtz when he's out there on a daily basis. I think you see every at bat that Nick takes is serious. You know, he had the homer down 3-0 the other day and got fired up and trying to get the team back in the game. So no, you're right. I think guys who excel at this level or you know anything close to it are the guys who really have that competitive fire.
Talk us through Henry Bolte. You know how I'm big on him, the second-round pick out of Palo Alto High School. Surgery on his wrist done for the year. How's Henry doing?
Yeah, we've known Henry's going to need this for a while. In fact, he went to a doctor down at Stanford last offseason, had an injection that got him through the first half of the season. He had another injection at the All-Star break. So we've known for a little while that he had to get this taken care of. It should be a pretty easy cleanup, but you know, played with a small tear in his wrist all year, had a great year between AA and AAA, and feeling really good about him getting healthy this offseason and coming to spring training ready next year.
He's built like a free safety. He looks like he's 12 years old, but he's built like a free safety. He's like a man child. I mean, could you see him roaming the outfield in Sacramento next year?
Yeah, for sure. I think, you know, we talk about AA and AAA guys always being part of the conversation, and he really hit the ground running when he got to Vegas and got some time in AAA, playing a really good outfield, hitting the ball hard. So he, you know, needs some more time at AAA, but he's certainly part of our conversation going forward.
So we've all been dazzled by Luis Morales. That leads me to Gage Jump. What do you think of his year and 2026?
Yeah, Gage was another guy I got a chance to spend some time with in Midland the last few days. I saw him pitch Tuesday night. Wasn't his best outing, but we talked about, you know, his ability to pitch all the way through September in his first full season, and what an important accomplishment that will be, because these guys coming out of college, it's a different schedule for them, pitching, you know, sometimes every fifth day, every sixth day, as opposed to once a week in college. And we did back Gage off a little bit during the summer, the same way we did with Luis, in order to hit sort of an innings mark. But he's, you know, his stuff is good. He's feeling strong. He's definitely got at least one start lined up for the Midland playoff team. And, you know, who knows if they go to the second round or if Vegas needs some help during the playoffs. So this was an important month for Gage, just to see how his body felt, finish strong, and obviously really put himself on the map this year to be in consideration for 2026.
Martin Gallegos recently did an article on Junior Perez, and when I'm reading it, and it says Jorge Mateo deal in 2020, I was like, what? What? I don't even remember. Like, that was a while ago. All of a sudden, this Perez kid is not a kid anymore, and he's doing well, but there's that free agency if you've been in a system. Talk us through that, and how do you handle Junior Perez?
Yeah, I mean, Junior's a guy who's had this talent all along since the moment we traded for him, got in the system, has shown flashes, and obviously never really put it together the way he has the last 100 or so plate appearances in AAA. But the staff has always raved about Junior, his athleticism, his ability to go get it in center field, and he's finally breaking out with the bat. But to your point, like a guy we need to make a decision on here coming up soon as a potential minor league free agent, someone who we definitely like to re-sign and have here, who, you know, I think could be in our conversation. He's only 23 years old still, play at 24 next year, was a baby when we traded for him, you know, from the Padres back in 2020, and really opened up a lot of eyes with the way he swung the bat the last month.
You know, let's say that leads me to think about, in your job, the word patience has to be there. Right? When you're especially when you're dealing with these international kids that get signed at 16, 17, 18 years old, they don't have the normal high school into the minors or high school to college to the minors. Just talk about with these prospects and these kids who are super talented, they just need time. Talk about how you and everybody, you got to have patience.
There's no doubt. And yeah, I think you and I have talked about this in the past. There's so much sort of emphasis, and there's such a spotlight right now on the guys like Kurtz and Jacob who get here quickly, come right out of the draft, that you sometimes forget that that's not the norm. It's not normal for these guys to, fly right through the minor leagues. This is it's a tough game. There's a lot of skills that need to be honed as you come through the system. And it's a lot more normal for guys to take a few years to figure things out. And you do have to have patience. I mean, I think Junior's a little bit of an extreme circumstance, a guy who's been at every level, but you look up and down the system and even on our big league club right now, guys who took a few years to get to where, I mean, Lawrence is the guy we've talked about probably the most over the past couple of years as someone who needed to go through that journey and get to where he is now. But yeah, this is a game of patience in a lot of ways. And there are a lot of guys in the system who you need to give them their time, give them the reps, whether it's, innings on the mound, plate appearances, whatever it is, give them time to get to where they can, contribute in the big leagues.
And speaking of patience with the big club, makes me think of two guys. It makes me think of J.J. Bleday and Zach Geloff. It's just, Geloff just had 20 home runs, 43 RBIs, which was incredible. Zach Geloff not long ago looked like the best young guy that you got. Then you look at injuries and maybe some swing changes with some coaches away from the organization. Some things go on and kind of spiral on you. Just talk about having patience with guys like Geloff and J.J. Bleday.
Yeah, development and progress. It's not a straight line. There are ups and downs. We've talked about guys going back to AAA to kind of get their feet under them. Both those guys obviously did it this year. And the important thing is we've seen both guys contribute in the big leagues. JJ had an unbelievable season last year. What Zach did when he first came up, you cannot deny the talent that is there. We still, there are times like Monday where we see the ball jump off of his bat and know what he's capable of. So I will admit it's harder to have patience at the big league level than it is other places. And I think Mark in particular has done a really good job of stressing that to the coaching staff, of being gentle with the players and understanding they need time. But both those guys are going to continue to get opportunities here the last month of the season. So we kind of have a sense of where we are going into the offseason.
I know I got to generate a lot of content, make stuff up every single day. My latest one was Luis inspiring Luis, Morales to Severino. And this Morales kid, it's just, obviously you love the velocity, but I love how that ball gets behind him, behind that right leg. He's hiding it, and it just gets up on guys. And then just his ability to really have feel with the sweeper changeup. I mean, this is something really, you guys have been seeing it. We're now, it's like you let the animal out of the cage. We're now getting to really see it. David, he is something super special.
Yeah, he is. And I don't think you're making up the Luis thing. I think part of the reason, we wanted Severino in the first place was because of the leadership he could bring to the whole group, but particularly to some of our young Latin players. And we've really seen that this season. Severino's done a great job. But right now, there are all the superlatives for Morales are certainly earned. And in fact, some of the guys I talked to in Midland who had him earlier in the year are so happy and saw what he was capable of. But look, you talk to Emo about this guy and he'll tell you about the work ethic, about his ability to make adjustments and take instruction. Even from the time that he got here, they've made adjustments with how he breaks his hands. To your point, how he hides the ball, there's clearly deception there. But just, it's been great to watch. It's such a huge win for our international group who put in a lot of time signing Luis Morales. When he was in Mexico, we sent everybody down there from medical to strength to work this guy out, make sure we took care of him right up until the time we could sign him and get him into the States. a long journey for Morales to get to the big leagues. But, man, it's been fun to watch.
Yeah, he is something special, and just the ability just to dominate, and he's doing it so early. When we talk about goals with 21 games left, do you look at this and say, okay, don't want to finish in last place, take care of the Angels this weekend, and let the Halos finish in last place? That as a goal also could be a goal. Finish 500 or better on the road this year. You're almost there.
Yeah, I think we look at all those things. I mean, look, ultimately the record is what it is, and it needs to be better going forward. But you look at everything from, staying out of last place to winning more games than last year to what you said, the 500 record on the road. I mean, again, we're not taking sort of moral victories out of this season because we're not as good as we hoped. But there are things to build on, individuals as a team. And you said 21 more games. We'd like to finish strong with some momentum and take that into the offseason.
Let's end on this. It's not fair that Denzel Clark got hurt. Like he started doing these things, and you're like, I want to see this every day, and then all of a sudden it's gone. It's like, what? How is he doing?
I think we still have hopes for both Denzel and Muntz to get back before the end of the season. Obviously, we're running out of days here. Both guys are rehabbing every day back in Sacramento and making progress. But, unfortunately, Denzel re-injured himself when he went out for a rehab assignment, and was close to being back. And these muscle injuries just take time. So it'd be nice, we get a little selfish and greedy and want to see him back out there that last week. And frankly, we've had some guys who've been able to build on that. We saw it with JJ at the end of 23, with Tyler coming back at the end of 24. Getting back at the end of the season really does send a good message, and gives these guys a little bit of self-confidence going in the offseason. So we're going to keep working on that going into these last few weeks.
In all your time looking at players, have you ever seen anyone with Denzel Clark's skill set?
No, he's maybe one of one as far as the size, the athleticism, just the closing speed in the outfield. Obviously, we've seen some really good center fielders. The guy sitting in the manager's office was a pretty good center fielder himself. But yeah, as far as just the sort of unique talents and body and things, Denzel is different from just about everyone.
Great stuff as always, David. We truly appreciate it. Have a good weekend. We'll see you back up in Sacramento.
All right, Towny. See you in a few days.
The David Forst Show. A lot to chew on there. And it's true. Like Denzel Clark, like you miss it. Like it's like one of the coolest things you've ever seen, and then it was taken away from you. It's like you want to see it. And unfortunately, you're going to hear from Mark Kotsay coming up here. I don't think we'll see Denzel Clark the rest of the year. Probably not going to see Jacob Lopez the rest of the year. Probably not going to chance we could see Max Muncy, but just the fact no Denzel Clark, that is tough. All right, coming up next, we will have the Mark Kotsay Show. A lot to get into. More football tonight, and one of the worst asked football questions in the history of the National Football League was asked right before this show. It is awful. We will have it for you next, right here on A's Cast Live.
ESPN's Paul Hembekides praised the A's young lineup, calling it one to watch while on A's Cast Live with Towny.
I have sure been noticing, and as I go to my Twitter timeline, and I looked at a tweet that I sent out at 11:37 a.m. Eastern on July 31st, the day of the Major League Baseball trade deadline, a tweet that has seen nearly 1 million views. As you may have seen, all I did was list any number of promising young players in the A's either lineup or system with their attached age. And this is something that people very clearly resonated with, because I list here Leo DeVries, Nick Kurtz, Max Muncy, Jacob Wilson, Tyler Soderstrom, Lawrence Butler, Denzel Clark, Shea Langoliers, and Brent Rooker, all of whom are 30 years of age or considerably younger. And so what I am telling you, my friend, is that the A's are building a freaking Leviathan. The A's lineup within the course of the next 3 years is going to be considered one of the 5 best in baseball. And right now you might say that their numbers are being inflated slightly or considerably by the fact that they play in a hitter-friendly ballpark. Last time you and I spoke, I believe I told you I expect it to play small, and it most certainly has. However, you can even adjust what the A's are doing by ballpark, and you still clearly see Nick Kurtz hitting out of his ever-loving mind, and Jacob Wilson before the injury doing the exact same thing. So by no means am I willing to sit here and say that these guys are merely a product of their environment. No. This A's lineup is for real. It is ascending. And by the time you guys wind up where you ultimately wind up, I think we're talking about one of the very best lineups in all of baseball once these guys reach their prime collectively.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/A'sCast. A's Director of Player Development, Ed Sprague, joined Towny on A's Cast Live to discuss watching Leo DeVries play and what really wows him.
His swing in the on-deck circle is exactly like his swing in the game. You know, some guys' on-deck circle swing is a reminder of what they're trying to do, swing down the ball or swing up on the ball. His is just perfect balance. His lower half is balance. He talks about his lower half balance. He sees the ball really well. His takes are really good, you know, and that's a good indication of how you're seeing the ball. He takes to the zone. He can check off pitches, and it's very similar from both sides. You know, I mean, I saw him probably a little more from the left than I did the right. Not that I've seen a ton, but it looks good. You know, I joked to David. I said, you may have just traded for Juan Soto, you know, so, you know, I hope that brings out to be true. And I know that's high praise on the kid, but in a small sample size, there was certainly a lot to like.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/A'sCast.
The A's YouTube page is your go-to destination for A's video content. Get access to great highlights, exclusive behind-the-scenes content, classic games, A's Cast Live, and more. Visit youtube.com/athletics.
A's Cast Live continues from NBC Sports. Here's Chris Townsend.
All right. We have a very special video because it is the start of the National Football League. I actually got pitched a book, and maybe we'll look at some of the offseason, but it's about how the NFL just became crazy, crazy big. And it has been happening for years, but it's about Roger Goodell, it's about Kraft, and about Jones.
Jerry Jones?
The great Jerry Jones, whose
Jera.
team's now 0-1.
Jerry Jones.
Robert Kraft. But the power brokers, I know as fans, we look, it's the power brokers of the National Football League. And there is a quote in there from Roger Goodell says, we're not competing with baseball and the NBA. We're competing with Google and Apple. And I was like, wow, that's how these guys, they get it. They get it. Are you ready? Can we play the next 2 days, especially on NBC later on, we went in and asked some questions about the NFL to some of our players. Everybody's watching it. Are you ready to play part one?
Yep.
All right, here we go. Our players, and we're talking a little NFL.
I feel like Denzel's the easy pick, so I'm going to go with Denzel.
Besides me, I would go with Denzel or Brent Rooker. I don't think anyone on this team can make it to the NFL. So my best guess would be Wilson, because he used to kick in high school. I think he can make it as a kicker.
I heard Brent Rooker was pretty good. Okay. So I'm going to go Brent. I think he has probably seen the best chance of all of us.
I feel like Sean Newcomb. He's huge. Yeah, he's a unit.
Probably Denzel.
What's going to make the best NFL
best coach? I think Shea Langoliers. Shea, good coach.
I feel like Shea would be a good coach.
Ooh, there's some guys in here who know football pretty well. Let's go, I'm going to go Willie McIver.
I might go Big Amish.
Okay.
I think he knows what he's doing. I think I would be a very good football coach, but I think Big Amish maybe can be a pretty good little football coach. The right answer and the guy that has the most ball knowledge and intensity is Grant Holman. That's the answer.
Last question, any thoughts on Travis and Taylor?
Congratulations.
Who? I don't care.
Outstanding. Jacob Wilson, the only chance because he was a kicker in high school. I did not know that Jacob Wilson kicked in high school.
Rooker was a quarterback, I'm pretty sure, in Tennessee.
We got to investigate this. I did not know.
I think, I don't know about that about Wilson. I think Rooker was he recruited to play quarterback, I think, for college?
I don't know. We got to check it. Okay, there's a couple things we got to check out here. All right, Max Muncy may have the best answers out of everybody in the group. Like each time we do this and we send our cameras in there and we have a little fun for you, Muncy's answers are phenomenal.
Yeah, they are.
Have you noticed Lawrence Butler's answer is always himself?
Yes.
Hey, Lawrence, who do you think's the best this or other than me?
Lawrence Butler is built like an NFL safety.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, if you want to say who's got the best build, because you might say Denzel Clark, but as we're seeing, we got to see if Denzel Clark can stay healthy. When you want size, speed, I mean, Lawrence Butler looks like he looks like he could be a tight end or a really big wide receiver. And if you put him on the outside and you put some weight on him, he looked like he could be like Michael Parsons, like the guy that the edge rusher that's not really a run stopper. He's an edge rusher because he's strong. He can get past the tackle. He can get to the quarterback. He looks like he could be one of those guys or like a massive strong safety. I don't know how Lawrence Butler would be in coverage. If you got to cover someone run a 4.3, he's maybe a little big to be covering guys in the NFL, but he's got that bite. It's the Bill Parcells. Bill Parcells loved drafting tight ends. It's the same thing in baseball. Why we love drafting shortstops, because when you draft a shortstop, he usually is a superb athlete that you can either move him to third, to second, to center, left, right. You can move a shortstop, right? It was the same thing for Bill Parcells with tight ends. Tight ends can remain a tight end, or he could be a big wide receiver. You could bulk him up, make him a tackle, offensive lineman. You can make him a defensive tackle, a defensive end. There's a lot you can do with a big, strong, fast guy. And so strong safety, tight end, when we look at draft, kind of the same thing. I think Lawrence could be in there.
I think Rooker has the build to be.
Rooker's not a tall guy. He's a decent size, but he's not what you would think. I mean, NFL quarterback, if you're not going to fly, these guys are 6'4", 6'5", winging it around. I mean, you have some guys that can be small. I mean, you can look at like Drew Brees, like Matthew Stafford's not the tallest guy. The NFL quarterback is going to be about 6'4", see over the line. Because if you can't see over the line, you better have some quicks.
Rooker played quarterback in high school. He led his team to the Division IIA state championship game, was a finalist for the Mr. Tennessee Award in 2013.
Wow. We gotta look.
He set 18 school records during his high school football career. Brent Rooker, pretty highly touted quarterback when playing in Tennessee.
All right, I brought a special treat for everybody that I've never taken out of the home studio.
My wife's been asking where this thing's been.
Your wife's never getting this back. We're taking this thing to Vegas with us, by the way. All right, did everybody see the tweet by the A's? How the ballpark is going vertical now for all they're just pushing dirt people out there. Yeah, the ballpark's going vertical now. Mick Akers from the Las Vegas Review-Journal has just tweeted out an article. You can see, I don't know, he tweeted video. You can see the Athletics Twitter page showing them the ballpark starting to go vertical. It's not pushing dirt, concrete going vertical. But I brought this from home. What is this in my hand?
The Rally Monkey?
If you're listening on 650 KSTE, if you're listening on the A's radio network, and also 95.5 KWNR FM, The Bull and HD2, you can't see this, but this is one of the original Rally Monkeys. We've been throwing and kicking and hammering this thing for years. I brought the original Rally Monkey here to San Francisco for great luck because the Angels were, 2-8 against the Angels this year?
That is correct.
I brought this from the home studio, and I will have this with me on NBC today for luck as we take down these damn Los Angeles Angels of Disneyland, Anaheim, whatever the hell their name is now.
California Angels.
California.
Always be the California Angels to me.
Where's Don Baylor? Nolan Ryan? Nolan Ryan played 8 years in Anaheim. A lot of people don't know that.
Well, we went over the home run leaderboard out.
Bobby Grich.
The great Reggie Jackson.
Doug DeCinze. Chuck Finley. Jared Weaver.
Mo Vaughn.
Jim Fregosi. My grandfather was the first base coach ever for the California Angels. So the Rally Monkey, we have brought it here because that is the goal. We're talking goals today. There's two goals. Goal number one, leapfrog the rally monkey, and have the Angels finish in last place for the second straight year. That's goal number 1. Goal number 2 is get to 500, stay at 500 on the road this year. 2 attainable goals that can happen for the Athletics. We've asked David Forst about it. And then coming up, we're going to have the Mark Kotsay show. Kotsay wasn't thrilled. Let's just say this. He wasn't thrilled about how the series went in Anaheim, in St. Louis, as you drilled them game 1, and then game 2, you go 2 for 19 with runners in scoring position. And you only score 2 runs. So, but we will get into, which I think it's one of our diamond notes for today, when we do the 60 games in 60 seconds. We're counting down the last games, 21 left. These games coming up are big. These are big games. 3 in Fenway. We're finding out Paul Skeens now in Pittsburgh. There's a lot to learn from these. And it starts right here. You got to learn how to win it. We've been brutal in division. Let's just be honest.
Yeah, I think they
got to get better in division. Got to take these Halos down. I mean, Halos came in that first 4-game set, just pumped the A's 4 straight.
In the division this year, the Athletics are 19-27.
Matchup of the day. This is no brainer. Mike Trout. Well, first of all, in the MLB notes today, the headline is "Battle to Avoid the Basement." I love it. But Mike Trout stuck. It says stuck. It's not me. Mike Trout stuck on 398 home runs. His 22-game homerless streak is the 3rd longest of his career. That is also a goal this weekend. Mike Trout's going to hit 400 home runs. Mike Trout is going into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Just don't allow number 400 to be against you this weekend.
Yeah, because I think the next home run he hits, he will tie A-Rod and Rafi Palmeiro for most home runs hit against the A's in the divisional era. I think is what it is, like 43.
Yes, you must say the divisional era, because no one is ever going to chase down the man who has the most home runs against the A's all time.
Would that be George Herman Ruth?
It's like 119 or something.
Yeah,
like
I think it's 119.
Babe Ruth abused the Philadelphia Athletics. Abused. Like when we looked at that, I can't remember. I think it was somebody hit a home run, and we went, who has hit the most home runs against the A's? And then we look and went, oh, yeah, that's no one's even close.
40. So yeah, the record divisional
like
era.
I think it's like 119 Ruth hit against. I mean, Ruth's numbers against the Philadelphia A's are just, it's just stupid.
Before we get to Kotsay, you got to pay off the tees.
Oh yes, okay. So Chargers and Chiefs. Nothing says Chargers, Chiefs, AFC West rivals, longtime rivals, like Brazil.
On YouTube.
Can you imagine? Let me tell you something. No one hates these games more than the head coaches, right? I remember with the Raiders going to London, and Gruden hated it. They hate it. They hate these games because nothing good comes out of it. I mean, for a football team, getting on a plane, how far is the trip? 15 hours or something like that?
Probably.
It's something crazy down to Brazil. You're in hotels you've never been in. You're worried about the food. You're worried about like nothing good. Then you got to fly all the way back. Nothing good week 1 playing in Brazil. So I can tell you the head coaches for these 2 squads, Andy Reid and our guy, Jim Harbaugh, crazy-ass Harbaugh, they cannot be happy. Iron sharpens iron, he's not going to be saying after this game.
With a sword and a shovel, we will build a new stadium in Brazil.
Well, he built Levi Stadium with a sword and a shovel, according to him. Remember, he's a jackhammer. He never gets sick. He doesn't celebrate birthdays or holidays. He's just football all the time. Jim Harbaugh.
And he lives in an RV park.
He's psychotic. It's the best. It's the best. All right. The question. This is the dumbest NFL question in the history of the NFL. Go.
I was asked by Nate Littlefield, our studio engineer at KSTE, who asked me, who do you think has a bigger fan base in Brazil, the Chargers or the Chiefs?
How would you know? How is there an answer to that? I mean, obviously the Chiefs have been in the Super Bowl, won 3 Super Bowls. They've been in I mean, how would you know who has a bigger fan base in Brazil? It's got to
team
be
do you
the
play for,
dumbest
Jake? The Indians?
question I've ever heard. Like week one of all the things you could ask. And then I got Cody going, well, maybe people in Brazil with Taylor Swift. I'm like, what?
I mean, yeah.
So there's going to be more Chiefs fans in Brazil because she performed multiple nights down there, her Eras tour.
Yeah, I would take her. All right, we got to get to Kotsay.
I mean, how many people even in Brazil even know who Travis Kelce is?
I'm going to say not many.
I'm just saying it's the dumbest question. Like, of any question you could have asked about the National Football League, this is day 2. Yesterday, we had the opener where the Eagles beat the Cowboys. Now it's all the things that you could be asked about the NFL. Who's got a bigger fan base? Chargers, their fan base is still, like we know what this is like when you take a team out of a city and move it to another city that's not far away. San Diego to LA, right? You know what? I'm going to say Kansas City just to air. Does that scratch your itch?
Yeah, that's good.
Is that good enough for you? God, that's like the worst talk show. I'm begging for clicks on Twitter ever. Well, not ever, but I think it's
close. Yeah. All right.
Who's got a bigger fan base? In Brazil. All right. Earlier today, we caught up with the manager, had the day off yesterday. It is time for the Mark Kotsay Show. For the Mark Kotsay Show, brought to you by Folsom Lake Ford. Kotz, how are you in Southern California?
I'm doing well, Towny. We had a day off yesterday. We got in late, or I should say early Thursday morning from St. Louis, a tough series in St. Louis where we came out banging on the first game, scored 11, and then somehow got shut down the next 2. So, it was a good day off. I think the guys enjoyed it. And some guys actually went to Disneyland, happiest place on earth. So others stayed around the hotel, enjoyed a little bit of the beach and things. So I think guys are coming in here today. You can see there's a different feeling, a little better energy.
Well, when I think about the days off, they've been coming a little bit more frequently because a lot of people don't realize that the Athletics had played the most games in baseball by a lot for a while. We didn't have very many days off, so we're now starting to get them. Just how big is this for your club down the stretch? Because you didn't have a lot of days off early in the season.
Yeah, no, the early season portion of our schedule was a grind. It was definitely tough and challenging. Now this is a different challenge, right? This is the physicality of a season, the aches, the pains, they all catch up to you now in September. It's a part of their maturation process, the maturity of them in dealing with these, nagging kind of issues, and yet still having to go out and compete every day. But yet these days off do bring some relief to that. It's a refreshing feeling and a level of energy that you get back with these off days, and they're nice to have in September.
21 games left. Let's talk goals. How about a goal to leapfrog the Halos and leave the Angels in last place and to get yourself out of the cellar? Do you like that as a goal with the last 21?
Yeah, Tony, I don't want to finish in last. I mean, obviously, this hasn't been fun. This is a 4th season for me sitting in this chair looking up at the division. So I'm not happy. I mean, how can you be happy about that? There's things that we can be happy about. Yes, there's progress. There's a nucleus of offensive guys in that room that have come together and put up a really good, solid season offensively. I think there's excitement about, Luis Morales and a young arm that's having a lot of success. I don't think we'll get Jacob Lopez back this year, which kind of hurts a little bit because I would have liked to seen him continue his trajectory. We won't get Jake Perkins back either. So there's some things that obviously we'd like to have finished, some goals that we probably aren't going to obtain. I don't think Denzel Clark will make it back. I don't know if Max Muncy will make it back in these 21 games, but as a group, yeah, we want to get ourselves out of last place. We want to have impact in some divisional races if we can, and we want to win more games than we did last season. So those are all goals that are in front of us. They're all obtainable, and they're what's driving me on a daily basis. What's got me a little bit of can I use the word ass coming out of St. Louis?
Yeah.
Because expectations were to go in there and win a series. So
you're Mark Kotsay. You can do whatever you want.
Well,
now,
I wish
I got
consecutive wins, and that didn't happen. So
I got another one for you, which is something that a lot of people talk about. Is you want to have an over 500 record at home and play 500 baseball on the road. This is really attainable for you. The goal of getting to and staying 500 on the road, which would be big.
Yeah, it is obtainable. This series. I mean, we're going to face Soriano, who's one of the best. He's having a great season. That being said, we got a chance to come here and, like you talked about, at least get even, maybe get a game ahead if things go really well this weekend here. And a series left where we go to Pittsburgh. We're going to face Skeens as it shows now, which will be fun. We go into Boston. Yeah. It's just as a team that is right in the middle of the playoff race. And I think we're getting Crochet and we're getting their best. Is it obtainable? Yes. And is it something that we've got our mind set on? Absolutely.
When you talk about playing the best, definitely down the stretch, going back to like early in your career, just how helpful is this for these young players to compete against the best, to look across the dugout, to see what the best look like, to not only compete against them now, prepare to then have to go beat them next year?
Well, the Boston series in Boston will be electric. If they're still in this race, 2 weeks left, 12 games left for them, maybe 13, that place will be electric. And that will be an experience for these young players, for sure. On the road, hostile environment, playoff environment for their club to, I'm sure stay in the race or gain in the race. So that'll be fun. That'll be a fun series. We don't want to look ahead to that series because obviously, when we go home off this road trip, we step into them at home. And they're going to come in prepared to play and prepared to win a series for sure.
When you talk about Luis Morales, just is it anything shocked you about how good he has been?
Well, I mean, yeah, the numbers didn't say that he, perform as well as he has in the big leagues in AAA. So for him to come here, really take to a few little minor adjustments mechanically, which have led to him throwing more strikes, and his changeup has really improved, which is a pitch in the minor leagues that I think, they don't utilize enough. For whatever reason, they don't throw it enough. But we've seen how good it is here and how effective it can be, and I think it's helping him here.
That's an interesting point. Yeah, because the changeup is it's a devastating pitch, right? It looks like the fastball, then boom. And Scott Emerson always talks about hitting is timing, pitching is disruption of timing. So you think they do more with that. But, he's got that interesting build, right? He's super athletic. He's lean. He looks like he could go out and play shortstop, or he could go out and play center field. He's different.
Yeah, he's bigger than he looks too. But going back to your point, I think the problem with the changeup in the minor leagues is that when you run into hitters that aren't as advanced, that don't have bat speed, and you throw your changeup in the minor leagues, it gets hit. And then they fear and they go away from it instead of, maybe throwing it in a better location, maybe, throwing it down and away as opposed to middle third, or throwing it, in counts where a 2-0 changeup is better than an 0-2 changeup. Hitters with 2 strikes are a little more defensive, and you hang a changeup, it gets hit, So there's a combination of things, but I'm glad to see that we're utilizing that pitch for Morales here.
You think about your bullpen, you've had the best ERA since the trade of Mason Miller, which is nothing about Mason Miller. We love Mason Miller, wish him nothing but the best. But it's interesting how the group has really come together since that time. Can you put your finger on it? Why do you think that's happened?
Well, I just think that, the bullpen's culture quickly became, hey, we're just going to go and pitch when we're asked to pitch. We're going to go take the ball, whether it's the 4th inning or the 8th inning. We're going to go out there and attack, and if we get beat, we get beat. And I think that aggressive mindset and that selfless mindset that hey, I don't have a role, but I'm going to go get my outs. And, you know, when the bullpen phone rings, I'll be prepared to pitch. I think that they've really taken to that, and I think that's a large part of why they're having success.
Isn't that so interesting? Because everybody talks about we love roles, right? I need to know you're the 9th, you're the 8th, you're the 7th. I hit 3rd, I hit 4th. And then sometimes it's better when you just go, hey, man, show up and be ready to play. And when we call on you, we call on you.
Yeah, there's something to that for sure. I mean, you know, when you have a bullpen that lines up where you have a closer and a setup guy that have proven themselves for, you know, a longer period of time, I should say, then, you know, most of those other guys fall in that 7th, 6th, 5th inning. And there's a collection of guys that pitch in those innings, right? And they know that they're ready. But when you don't have a guy that's been established in that role and had success for a period of time, like, yeah, this is how we do it. And you got a lot of guys down there eager to pitch that want to pitch and be on the mound.
All right,
it's another immaculate inning, huh? 9 straight sliders, was it?
I don't know if they were all sliders.
I think they were all sliders. I don't know. Someone said that to me.
Well, yeah, and I don't want our fans to think whenever we bring that, it was 9 straight sliders. We don't want people to think that we're, you know, Mason Miller's gone. They're better now. It's just, you know, Mason Miller it's just the business of baseball. By the way, your GM, we talked to him earlier today. Super excited about Leo DeVries. Have you been able to check out Leo DeVries at all in Midland?
Only on video. Only on video. I haven't seen him in person. You know, there's might be an opportunity to go out and see him this winter to make a visit. But I know David was there. He went to Midland, watched him, spent a couple days there, which I thought was great. And he came back, really, I think, pretty excited about him.
They actually threw him BP too, so I found that was interesting. Let's end on this. Whenever we get to Orange County, any of the old Mark Kotsay greatness feelings come back to you?
No, but a lot of family, a lot of friends.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of entertaining for sure. But it's always nice to come back here. And you know, I grew up around the stadium, 15 minutes from here. I went to college 15 minutes from here. So, but a lot of good thoughts.
You went to games back when it was still the football stadium when you were growing up there.
I did. I remember in high school, my high school quarterbacks coach would bring me to the Rams games. We'd sit in the end zone so you could see the play develop, and he'd point out, hey, this is his first read, this is his second read, you know, try and teach me coverages and things of that nature. And then we would sit, and my dad's friend had season seats to the Angel games, and you'd get the sundae in the little cup, right? The hat, the helmet cup, right? And I wanted to collect all 30 of them, you know, so I'd get 3 or 4 Sundays a game. So, but yeah, it's a lot of good memories from here. So
Mark Kotsay checking out John Robinson and the great Eric Dickerson on Sundays at the Big A.
I got that book too that night that I was at the game. I think when he broke the rushing record, and they gave out the book like it was an autobiography of Eric Dickerson or something. So
greatness. He was greatness. All right. Hey, good luck this weekend, and we'll see you back in Sacramento.
All right. See you, Towny. Thanks.
The Mark Kotsay Show brought to you by Folsom Lake Ford.
A's Director of Player Development, Ed Sprague, joined Towny on A's Cast Live to discuss watching Leo DeVries play and what really wows him.
His swing in the on-deck circle is exactly like his swing in the game. You know, some guys' on-deck circle swing is a reminder of what they're trying to do, swing down the ball or swing up on the ball. His is just perfect balance. His lower half is balance. He talks about his lower half balance. He sees the ball really well. His takes are really good, you know, and that's a good indication of how you're seeing the ball. He takes to the zone. He can check off pitches, and it's very similar from both sides. You know, I mean, I saw him probably a little more from the left than I did the right. Not that I've seen a ton, but it looks good. You know, I joked to David. I said, you may have just traded for Juan Soto, you know, so, you know, I hope that brings out to be true. And I know that's high praise on the kid, but in a small sample size, there was certainly a lot to like.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/A'sCast.
This has been a presentation of The Athletics.